Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for the Weekday Apocalypse Presents Uncharted Worlds. My name is Michael Siebold and I'm here with David and Aaron. I kind of just stole their thunder, but just wanted to give everybody a moment to introduce themselves. We'll touch base with what we're doing tonight and then we'll get started.
Hi, I'm David, and my wife is calling me, so hold on one second.
And I'm Aaron.
All right. Well, thanks for sitting in tonight as always. Just a quick recap for anybody out there who's watching. This is our iteration of Uncharted Worlds, a space exploration tabletop RPG designed by Sean Gomes. We've been playing for about 10 sessions now. This is our first stream session, and it's going to be a little bit atypical. We're going to do some stuff that kind of pulls the scope out a little bit. Lets us as players kind of fast forward the fiction and get us into a good jumping off point for the next round of action. So once David gets back, once he's available,
I'm back.
All right, cool. We'll get started. So where we left off is in the Amelie Sigma sector on the planet of AFTA. AFTA has become quite the hotbed of activity in recent weeks, centered around the crew of the Bluetooth, Josin, Sawyer, and Dr. Bronson. And we are short one player tonight, so Dr. Bronson will be ominously quiet. But you guys are investigating the return to the site of the strange metallic rods that seem to have had an effect on among other things the ship VI, and have garnered the attention of the VOC and potentially others. So where we left off, if I recall, is, and anyone can jump in, I believe you commandeered a VOC marketing compound on the planet surface.
We did.
Held the marketers prisoner in a shipping container.
Did we?
Yep.
And we last left off with there was inbound vehicles from orbit coming to the surface. Oh, that was me. So what I'd like to do with that is we'll jump over to these questions that we have outlined. All right. So like I said, this is going to be a little bit atypical. I want to go through and take the time instead of going beat by beat, and I want to answer these questions in the order that you guys feel is most relevant, and then we'll engage the mechanics as normal. So from where we left off, where do you think, based on the situation that we're in now, I have an opinion on what the most pressing question is, but I'd like to hear your input.
I think the most pressing question is who's coming for us? What's the actual question on here? Who does the VOC send to take back their property?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking too. So yeah, and this is just kind of be a exercise for us too, to kind of like look at these moves when we talk about this. It's kind of like frame scenes, think kind of like Fiasco. Let's just frame the scenes and don't have to go beat by beat. And then when it comes to like the moves, they'll enact larger scopes. So if we want to answer that question first, what's happening now is like as you recall, VOC had their strike fleet like in position over AFTA, kind of as a territorial claim to the planet, like thanks to Joskin's tipping them off. So now that you have slipped past the fleet and kind of in a less than political way, kind of commandeered their marketing team. They're sending down like their ground troops to kind of reclaim the planet, or at least reclaim this sector of the planet. So, what would
But
your what would
we
your
also
like response
locked
be?
the
Sorry.
we also locked the jump gates. So
Yep.
whatever they have is all they got. They're not
That's
getting reinforcements.
Yep. Good call out. Yeah, they've kind of through your work with the jump gates, you've more or less turned this into like an isolated planet to where they're not going to be able to get reinforcements out here. Unfortunately, they do have a decent showing already, but it was definitely a solid long-term play to kind of keep other VOC faculties at bay. So what would with that said, so you've got yourselves on the planet's surface, and we're kind of seeing this on a big scale. You have like the landing pods coming down, and these they're kind of like coming down in like a few dozen, streaming across the sky like falling meteorites, and they're coming to land on the planet's surface. What would the general response from Joskin and Sawyer be?
My general response would be to look to Sawyer, like, oh my God, what do we do? What?
These things are out of range of the Bluetooth point defense systems.
I think that it's like one of these things where they probably initially landed outside of the point defense because it's more or less like just a machine gun mounted to your ship, but
Right.
it's you could definitely if the plan was to kind of make that your your Alamo, you could definitely do that.
We still have the haste security guys, right? I didn't write
Yes.
down there.
Yep. You do. You have a couple dozen haste ground forces that you brought with you, which should create for an interesting dynamic. So you do have a couple dozen haste personnel. You've got security forces from the VOC, quite literally raining down on the planet. You have prisoners. You're currently in control of this asset, that's obviously highly contested.
And I have a crew of 5 trained with pistols.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely you're outnumbered. Outpositioned is yet to be seen, but it would definitely be an outnumbered situation. They're bringing a decent array to kind of to reclaim what has been the disruption in the marketers transmissions.
Well, so zoomed out a little. Sawyer, are we shooting our way out of this, or are we gonna try to talk some sense into him? I don't really think we have much leverage here to really hold this position with words.
I mean, we sort of let the cat out of the bag already on this one. I think we should hunker down and prepare for old-fashioned negotiations.
Is that a Moab turn?
Yeah, exactly.
So you on a bigger scale, on a drawn out scale, you're just gonna wait for them to come to you and be ready to make contact in a non-violent manner? Is that more or less what you're attempting to do?
I mean, Sawyer's first instinct will not be nonviolence. It would be the opposite. I mean,
Okay.
strike first and often.
Yeah, I feel like they're sending like a whole bunch of like ground forces at us, it's probably going to be a shoot first
Okay.
situation.
All right. Well, like yeah. So this is where like the camera is like pulled out. Like we have like the pulled out shot that shows like the wide like tundra expanse of the planet of Afta, and like the swell of the ground forces, the couple, a few like columns, and I don't know. I know column probably indicates an exact number that I'm overstating. Of Vok issued like ground forces are moving, to intercept the camp. You have the both ships, the Bluetooth and Dr. Lee Sun's ship, stationed together, like in between those 2 points. So like they're gonna pass by the ships before they get to the camps. Are you stationed at the camps, or did you make it back to the ship?
Where is so I'm looking at the sort of layout on the globe here.
Mm-hmm.
We're landed where the Bluetooth is. Where's Dr. Lee Sun's ship?
For these purposes, it can be in the same spot. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's not significantly farther.
No, no. He landed like he was dispatched with you more or less. So like he landed, adjacent, in relationship to spaceship, closeness.
What is this funny purple token?
That's the that's the NERP.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where they were last seen.
We have surveillance footage.
Yes, you do have surveillance footage grainy surveillance footage of a squat, wrinkly, naked-skinned alien species who seem to be working or walking in like small like troops, from one rod site to the next, and the last rod site was the one that you're currently at. So.
Yeah, so violence.
Violence. Okay. All right. So like, I think that this is a good opportunity then to roll the violence, roll the dice to make it violent.
So I imagine we have we're sort of depending on the haste forces. There are guys with guns, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you want to like set anything up? Like we're kind of like working these mechanics like slightly like differently than intended. Like in terms of like if you wanted to like command them or anything like that, or do you want to just engage like fiction in any way before you just lay into the launch assaults or the open fire, I guess.
I think what I'd like to do is stay in the ship.
Okay.
Sawyer, you wanna go lead these men? Look at them. They haven't seen ground combat ever. They're scientist security forces.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it's worth fictionally describing the tactics. I guess it is.
Yeah, tell us how it looks.
We're going to be, I'm assuming, decently outnumbered, if not heavily outnumbered.
Probably 2-1, maybe. Easily.
Okay.
You've seen worse odds.
I'm planning on staying with the ship and actually manning the turret.
Okay.
And then I'll have my staff like they're like my last line of defense. Like they'll be sort of in the ship with their guns out.
Katie bar the door.
Don't expect anything unless something gets breached.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking two things. Sawyer would somehow set up use the prisoners as decoys.
Solid.
To make it look like they're that they're part of the defending forces.
Okay.
Wow. And
the things we don't know about Sawyer.
Yeah. And that I would also I would split the forces into like the haste commander and the bulk of her troops would, be our main fighting force,
Okay.
and then a smaller group led by Sawyer would, I'm not sure, maybe hiding in the rods or something like that.
Okay. So you're looking
I'm
to
going
like,
for that Braveheart
yeah.
scene where the cavalry comes in when
You're
they don't.
gonna come in over the hill kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like we have like all the shots of like, because all this is like getting set up via like montage. So there's like Yuri Peck, who is the senior marketing strategist, who like he's got the worried face, like the bewildered face on his, where as you like shove like like a are you like outfitting them with like weaponry or decommissioned guns, or like how do you?
Yeah, something like that.
Like duct tape it to their hands.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they look
exactly.
armed, but they're like,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he has like his people, and you've forcibly like you've affixed guns to their hands. White faced, completely bewildered. And then there's like the shot of Sawyer giving Lieutenant Parker, the haste infantry leader, like giving her the directives on like the hollow pad, like with all the hand movements that are appropriate, to laying out that kind of stuff. And then we see like in the like how does the point defense system, how is that like mounted on the ship itself? Is it a pod, or is it like a bubble that hangs down, or is it like a bubble on the top, or what do you think it looks like?
I think it's below the ship. I think it sort of hangs out, sort of in the area of all like the landing feet and the cargo door and all that. So it's low enough to where it sort of has a clear angle at everything on the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we see like from the exterior, we see Joskin like gingerly getting into the like lowering himself into the apparatus that like fires it. Like, how comfortable is Joskin like actually taking that position?
I mean, Sawyer taught me how to shoot, so I'm fairly certain I can aim and push some buttons, but this place hasn't been cleaned in forever, so
You made a note.
I'll pull out a rag and wipe the stuff down. Like, handkerchief. Make sure to lay it on the seat before I sit down.
Okay. Beautiful. So the way that I hear all this going, and you guys, feel free to, to change it up. I feel like this is going to be well, tell me, Sawyer, are you waiting to get close on them for a launch assault, or are you going to open fire from far? That's the first question.
You ask good questions. I don't know. I feel like it would still be open fire.
Okay.
Because it would still be a like cover to cover firefight.
Okay. So I feel this is an open fire, and then with Joskin positioned in the ship, he could be getting involved to help.
I like it.
Okay. So why don't you give me those rolls, and we'll play out how this goes. In the battle of AFTA.
Hang on one second. I just want to make sure that I've got.
I'm getting involved with metal, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Oh God.
Ooh, oh God is right.
Sorry. Do better.
Okay. So, on the 9, so you win this engagement. Your targets are dead, injured, incapacitated, retreating, pinned, and surrendered. But I get to choose one of the following consequences. And if you're not looking at this, we have. So I think that, and obviously we have to deal with the getting involved issue. So I'd like to think that like, what we see is that like, and in this session, like I want to give you guys the ability to come in over the top and like add into. So if you have a good idea, just speak up, or I want to keep it a little more open than normal. So like I have the feeling that like this is like an instance where like Joskin like open fires too early, like so like like he like forces like he causes like some of the troops to like break rank or something, or to break the formation that would have been like the perfect pincer like maneuver. And I think that like as a result of that, like as a result of like them peeling off and like then like accosting the ship, that the open fire assault from Sawyer, like you would have like I mean you described to me how it looks, but you didn't get them all because they broke rank early because of Joskin. But like, what does it look like? You know, in the what you were successful. Everybody, but like a detachment of them, you were able to overcome, but with surprise. So how does that look like? Any thoughts on how they break on the banks of the mighty Sawyer? I think you might be muted, David.
Yeah.
Oop, sorry about that. Everyone popping up from behind cover and taking shots, and then back down, taking cover, and then just Sawyer just coming out of nowhere with a couple of mooks behind him, but just coming out of nowhere with Veronica, just like not even flinching at the bullets flying, just like this is like a skirmish compared to the things that he's been in. So he's just like storming around the battlefield, just like blowing huge holes, shooting through cover,
Yep.
Blasting guys to bits left and right.
Punching with his free hand when he can.
Yeah, stuff like that.
It's a Guy Ritchie like quick cut montage of you killing a bunch of folks on the battlefield.
Yes. Kaiser Sose was in the port killing many men.
Yes. And it feels so natural, and like it's over before you know it, and like it's just like resounding like success to thwart the Vok like incursion, and then there's a sound there's like a whirling like an alarm sound from like several like a few couple hundred meters away at the ship, and it's the ship being breached, and so Joskin, yeah. So Joskin, your men are like positioned at the door, and you've got like a couple dozen, like maybe like 12, 15 like Vok soldiers who you opened fire on, and you like thinned out their numbers a little bit, but they're now like swarming around the ship, and they're going to break in. Your line of defense are your 4 crew members. So what do you do?
God, I would have given him standing orders to shoot anybody that comes through.
I mean, you could definitely. I mean, they're not gonna stand idly by, but like when those doors fall, because those doors will fall. Do you have? Is it just fire until you can't fire anymore, or what do you think?
So here's how I see it. There's going to be an exchange of fire with the with my staff. But as soon as that starts happening, I'm going to get myself on the ship's comms. I'm going to say, hold on, ladies, gentlemen, can we talk this through? I have in the aft of the ship a container full of, what did we have?
You had from Sagan. You had like I think we called them consumer electronics. I think.
Yeah, I have navigation tech written down, but I don't really.
Yeah, very nebulously defined.
Got a crate full of goods back there worth able to sell at any port. Real popular. It's a ZX model. It's the brand new one. It came out this year. So you guys are welcome to take it. No questions asked. You guys can head out.
So this to me sounds like you're trying to kind of like a barter. You're exchanging cargo for
trying to buy them off.
Yeah. I guess when you demand important services or assets from a market, that's acquisition. If you're trying to barter,
Face adversity.
This could be adversity. Yeah, face adversity with your influence. I'm assuming.
Where's my button? There we go. Oh my god, I can't roll.
All right. So yeah. So you you get the attention. It's like a very like tenuous situation. I think what happens is based on like everything leading up to this, like they will stop and listen to the bribe, but they're gonna want more. They're gonna want everything in the cargo hold. That includes.
Oh God, what else do we have?
That includes the rods that you have.
Oh no.
And this is like, imagine that, like, and this is like a very much so like this is happening on a very granular level with like who you're dealing with. Like you're dealing with like a sergeant like within the group of like soldiers. So like they're doing this like for personal profit kind of thing.
Yeah, but we're well, I mean, we're on AFTA. I'll have to talk that over with my compatriots.
Yeah.
I'll get a private lineup with Sawyer and
the sergeant is a very impatient young woman who has her gun trained on you and says, "I thought that you were making the decisions around here because this isn't something that we're going to negotiate. Everything in the cargo hold, or you're coming with us."
So since he opened the comms, can Sawyer have heard that?
Yeah, for sure.
That last part.
Yep. You like it crackles to life and you hear the shakedown.
Like the camera cuts to Sawyer, like wiping the blood off his combat knife, and hearing the communications come over his comm system, and like commandeering like a ATV, like a 3-wheeler or something like that, and just like hauling ass across this like makeshift battlefield.
Yep.
Towards the ship. Do we ever discuss how we enter and exit the Bluetooth? Is it like a ramp?
I thought we've discussed like a ramp in the belly, but it's whatever you need right now to be cool.
So, okay.
Yeah, I remember a ramp in the cargo bay, so they would have come up that ramp.
So like 10 sessions in, I'd like to actually try my recklessness move.
Okay. Sure.
So
launch the 3-wheeler into the cargo.
Yeah, like what if I just came flying up the ramp at full speed?
What if indeed? Yeah. Do you have to roll for that, or does that just happen?
I do. It's
a single D6.
It's a 1D6. It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
What's good? What's bad? Is it
4, 5, 6 is good.
4, 5, 6. Fantastically lucky success.
So yeah, tell me, like, let's be clear on what you're risking here.
I'm going for like the total like John Woo. Like I'm gonna come flying up the ramp on this, like standing up on this 3-wheeler.
Yep.
And like, at the last minute I'm gonna launch it airborne and like dive off to the side.
Yep.
And like
and shoot it.
Yeah, exactly. And shoot it.
This is definitely like the Fast and Furious after series. Yes. Definitely.
Here goes.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So I want to read the words again because I think it said it goes awful. On a 1, 2, or 3, the move is spectacularly awful failure with harsh consequences. Okay, so it's the shot that jumps back and forth. The sergeant is like got her, like, and her men have got the guns like drawn on Joskin and his crew, and we have Sawyer like just like gritting his teeth as he like maybe is there like a cigar butt in your like clenched in your mouth?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like your white knuckle like gripping the ATV's like throttle as you barrel towards the ship, and we see you stand up high like in the seat and you prepare your jump. And the ramp is down, and like we see as the audience, like we see as like the trajectory what you're going for, and like you like give it one last good like rev, and then you just jump off of it in the last possible second, and as you're like floating suspended in air, like firing your your gun that has all god awful like tags on it, and the ATV goes careening off and just crashes and explodes into like the side strut of the ship, and the ship just goes lurching down and like crashing like a hard slam onto the surface. All of the soldiers, Josk, and everyone on board goes like they lose their footing and come tumble, like they just all get like cast around the cargo bay, and you've crippled your ship with like an exploding ATV.
Wonderful. Way to go.
Yes.
Um,
I think that's going to be experienced, though. Okay, so like, where do we want to then like? Is that where we want to end that scene? Like, do we want to kind of like move to see like what happens beyond that, or like move into another question, or do we want to keep playing that out? Like, what do you think?
I like moving into another question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just to clarify, what happened there is you were successful in like rebuffing the ground forces of the Vok, and since they have no means to reinforce themselves, they don't have ground forces to like continue to throw at you, but you've effectively stranded yourself on the planet with a handful of Vok soldiers, haste soldiers, and Vok marketer prisoners, like pseudo prisoners, and now you're stranded on this planet right now. Does that sound like a fair assessment to what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the next question that you guys want to talk about? Doesn't have to be in the order they're listed, but it might.
And
it could be, and you could, time can pass. It could be like immediately next. It could be a week, 2 weeks, a month like later. I mean,
we knew that Azraq was on the way too, right?
You knew that Azraq had your location based off of Wharton Aston giving you giving you the finger for thumbing your nose at his deal. Yeah.
So I kind of like that one too. I think what are you busy doing when Azraq catches you off guard is like we're being carted off in handcuffs by this crew.
Okay. All right. So how much time has passed? Is it is it a week? Is it a couple days? Is it a few hours? Like how have you been captured by are you now the prisoners of this AFTA ground force that is also kind of awaiting pickup? What do you think time wise?
It's only been a couple hours.
Hours. Okay.
We were marched directly off the ship.
Okay.
In cuffs and things like that.
Did you did anybody do anything how did you leave the ship? Did you? Not a leading question.
Yes. I would have assumed that Joskin would have given some like sinister, um, some sinister set of commands, to be executed upon certain events to Vicky. But I don't want to. I don't want to speak for him.
He did actually ask her if she could do something in the last session.
I did.
Yeah. Do
I
you
guess I
remember the
did.
details of that?
Well, so well, it was a completely different situation. It was
Yeah, it
if
was.
we needed to crash the ship into the Vok fleet and blow it up. If she could upload her intelligence into the station orbiting AFTA.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really like a standing order, but
No.
Vicky's smart enough now.
Okay. Yeah, she's smart. Do you think? Okay, so we'll just leave that hanging for now. You told Vicky, in the event of emergency, could you potentially transfer yourself? And her response was yes. So, so it's been a few hours, and you're now like, have they reclaimed the Vok base, and now you're the ones in handcuffs, like in the marketers and
In the same shipping container.
and Peck is standing there smugly, like he's actually still like rubbing like the marks from like the bondage that you guys tied guns to his hands on, like he's like rubbing his wrists like to get like the kinks out, and he's just giving you that like tut like shit-eating grin kind of thing.
Didn't I beat the snot out of him too?
You think you might have? He's got a very distinct disdain for Sawyer, because I do believe you like beat the shit out of him. Like,
No, I definitely fired my gun like next to his head.
Yeah.
Like,
and he just like so he's got like he's got comments for days about like how good things happen to what a good things always or bad things happen to good people kind of thing. So it's to answer the question, what are you busy doing when Azrak catches you off guard? Is the answer to your question you're busy being incarcerated by the Vok?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Busy being prisoners.
yeah. So does anybody like? We can turn it over. Does anybody want to set that scene for us?
so as opposed to the Vok, I think Azrak would look a little different here. Like the Vok would be working, they have numbers, they have technology, money, where Azrak is like a loose affiliation of pirates, more or less, right? So,
Yeah.
and in this case, Aston, right? Wharton Aston, is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah. He specifically hired an assassin.
Wonderful.
Like it.
Didn't he though? Am I not correct?
He basically like floated the bounty out there, but I like the idea of like somewhere within the Vok that like a particular assassin like picked it up. I mean, you said it, so it's actually going to happen now.
Okay. All right. I thought that's what you had illustrated for us. So
I like that.
I'll give you the credit for
He's an
it.
assassin.
So
And he's got a badass gun and a sword.
so yeah, that they're not. So the interaction with Azrak's not going to be the same. It's not going to be another firefight. It's going to be something a little bit more insidious.
Okay. So, all right. So, like, is it like more along the lines of like it's the evening? The evening is setting on AFTA. The nights on AFTA get like it's a cold planet, like as it were. It's a cold, desolate planet. The sky takes on this like strange purplish blue hue, and like from like the emitting like gases and whatnot like that are caught in the atmosphere. The temperature like continues to drop, and it's it gets unbearably cold. And like I think the assassin comes in the night. So
Good thing we're in shipping containers.
yeah, like the so the camera like, and that also works well considering that like there's still a fleet like in orbit, so like you can still see like the outlines like of like class 3, ships, class 2 and 3 ships kind of dotting like, the sky. And the camera catches like this segment of the night sky that kind of like washes with color like in a weird way. And like the cloaked like single pilot vessel comes like weaving down through the blockade. It just kind of like shimmers against the sky the only way you can like kind of tell that it's there is through like just kind of like the displacement of the atmosphere. And then that's our indication that the assassin has arrived. So Joskin, like how do you busy yourself in the evening, like within the shipping container?
Is there how technical is the shipping container? Are there like controls to open some sort of sliding door, or is it just like levers and hinges?
Yeah, no, I think there's controls. I mean, we've been saying shipping container, but I think like it could just as easily be like it's like like a container that is used to deploy these like temporary like remote bases. So like at least some element of it is intended for like creating shelter and then like packing stuff up, that kind of stuff. So there are controls.
So even though we're locked inside, I would busy myself with trying the various like standard passwords and ciphers that VOC employees would know, just sort of going through the motions. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Just, I mean, there's nothing else to do locked in a shipping container but push buttons.
Okay. Are you trying to access?
Um,
or are you just busying yourself?
I would be. I would be trying to get access to the controls. I wouldn't want to. If I do, I don't want to open the door just yet. I don't want it to like surprise me. Like, oh god, I got
it. Yeah, no. Like if you get like what you want is like you're gaining control of the system. Yeah. Unless you get a bad roll, and then it will just pop open.
Yeah. What am I looking for here? Interface. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So like Joskin is hunched over the controls, and like just his face is kind of lit by the screen as his fingers are kind of deftly typing away on the pad, getting the random error messages. We see what's Sawyer doing? Like how is he relaxing, or how is he spending his time? And
he's tactically cracking his knuckles.
Okay. So you're just like in the corner.
Brooding.
Yeah, you're brooding in the corner, like the noir lighting on your face, and like
they took my cigars.
Yeah. And then there's the beep 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 beep.
Yeah, and it's like driving him like slowly insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's that different sound, like the different tone, and I think. Sorry, Aaron. The door pings open, and like the shipping container crate comes sliding open in the night, and your split second decision is that you can you see like this moment where you could escape, you could rush out the door and turn the corner before the guards see, and you could get out of the shipping container alone, or you stay and no one else can get out with you, including Sawyer.
Go.
Can I? Did anybody notice that the door opened at this point?
They will not notice. If you take this, you will be gone before they notice. If you don't take it, they will notice that the shipping container opened and you'll be standing there at the controls.
Yeah, then I'm out.
Okay. So,
sorry, Sawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, so we see like the door opens, it catches you off guard, and with a, like almost like reflexively without thinking, you like slip into the night. Sawyer, like the door, like the door opens and the light from the camp floods in, and like you sitting in the sitting or whatever you like, however you're positioned, cracking your knuckles, you're bathed in this like the purplish blue light, and then the two armed Vok guards turn to you in surprise, like, and they train their weapons, like one of them trains their weapons up on you, like instinctively. What do you do?
So it's just been a matter of like a minute or less that all this happened in, right?
Instant.
Yeah. So like the door didn't close behind him.
No, it's wide open. The door is wide open, but they have like they are surprised. They were surprised by the opening of the door, and they see you sitting there, along with I guess like along with like all of the other like the Haste and Joskin's crew, but like presumably none of you are you outnumber them like. You outnumber them like probably like 15 people in the container, but none of you are armed.
Right. And their loyalty is not
Not
does
unless
not
you
include
command them.
an uprising.
Well, I mean, my
John-
guys would be loyal to you.
You got 5 guys that you know are good for a fight, but they're unarmed. The
And
other
they're also like butlers and cleaning crew. Like they're not
Yeah.
they're not street brawlers. So
so
if you need
what do you do?
fodder.
Yeah, what do you do?
You know what? There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them in the immediate like in the doorway. They were stationed there. I mean, so like just to paint the picture, knowing how many people were on the ship that took you, say there's about like 8 to 10 more that are in the camp somewhere, but there's the 2 right there that are the immediate threat.
I can't get over like even unarmed Sawyer being intimidated by 2
Neither do I.
dweebs from
That's why I
Vok.
want you to do it.
Okay.
Just clothesline them.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna like get up and like brush like the dust or whatever off my uniform pants and just look up at them and smile and then just like full on charge.
Okay.
So that'd be launch assault, right?
Yeah. Do you want to like get the group involved, or are you like?
Oh no,
it's
it's all me.
Okay. Yep. Launch assault with physique.
And I'm going for like knocking their heads together like coconuts.
Oh, dude, you tell me how severely you knock their heads together.
I think I actually use one guy to kill the other guy. Like,
Okay.
yeah, or maybe I don't know. In the process of incapacitating one, I actually killed the other.
Yeah. I didn't mean to do this. You made me do this.
Yeah, I didn't need to do this kind of thing. But, yeah, totally. Just I spring forward, and before they can even fire their weapons, my massive hands have grabbed their heads and just smashed them together.
So we see this like moment of like physical like carnage occurring like in silhouette at the door like and then like Sawyer, like you turn back to like a shipping container like full of like terrified people. Do you have any words for them as they look at you in awe and horror?
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's
We like
Joskin's
reach
crew that
down
gets out
and
first.
we grab the whatever guns they had. And
Yep. Okay. You've armed like Joskin. You're like number 1 butler. His name is Martin. So do you toss the other gun to Martin? Like.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So you've got yourself a complement of like a small gang of
Do I have Bronson and Lee Sun with? Are they captured as well?
Yeah,
or
yeah, they're captured as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. So all right, now we get back to the question though. So Joskin, you've already like you've already like booked it. So you're
Yeah.
not like there for that.
I'm
So
in the
it's
darkness of the camp.
in the darkness of the camp. Like where like do you run for like just anywhere, or are you running for a spot?
What is there like? Do they have like dwellings or?
Yeah, so like the camp has a few distinct features, and like you know, as a VOC employee, like would have like some understanding of like what buildings would be which, but there's like clearly like a barracks like there that includes like kind of a like a lobby of sort or like a hangout space. There's also dominating the center of the camp, and it's lit with all sorts of like spotlights and like work lights are the rods themselves, just like looming high in the night. And other than that, there's just like a few like there's the latrine and just like those sorts of necessity buildings, the mess hall and that sort of stuff. So anywhere you want to go.
I'm definitely not going to the area lit by giant spotlights.
Yeah.
I would not look back at the cargo container, so I would totally not be aware of the mini insurrection that just happened. I would try to go back to our ship, honestly. I would try to get out of camp.
Yeah.
Um,
So in that thought, you can see, and the camp is the ship is like a few hundred meters away. You can vaguely make it out in the distance because Lee Sun's ship is there as well. You're making your way like over the desolate like dark tundra, and then you hear like this like wow 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 sound coming like from the darkness, and you catch just before, and you have a minute to just get out of the way, like a speeder like hover bike come like tearing over the expanse towards you, and a slender figure in like carbon fiber gray like bodysuit comes like somersaulting off of the bike. As I mean, I'm actually all I'm doing right now is picturing Darth Maul attacking Qui-Gon. Yeah, so like that's what happens. So the assassin, this stranger comes like tumbling off of their bike to intercept you, and they've got this length of cord like taut between two like top between their arm like their hands, almost like a bolo, with like weights on the ends. What do you do?
so as he comes flying at me and leaps off this bike, does the bike keep going?
It kind of like does like a drift, and then it comes to rest like a few maybe like 10 yards away.
Like, is there enough time for me to like reach over and grab onto the handle of the bike and have it yank me out of the way?
If
Like, nope.
you can give me that would definitely be a base adversity roll, and I think it would have to be with physique, like you're using your athletics to like quickly react like to this
Oh my God.
moment.
Oh, oh.
You're having a rough day.
Yeah, I haven't rolled anything above I think five's my highest
5,
roll.
yeah.
So like you reach like you desperately. I imagine you're like kind of in a very much a sort, having just booked it from your your captors. You reach for this bike as it goes past you. Your hand goes flying off of it as the momentum carries it away from you, and then you feel this like you feel like a tight like wrapping around your ankles as this like electric bolo like whips around and like hits you like in the tights, keeps your legs tight as you go like tumbling down. I think this is gonna be harm, as you take It's going to be like stun damage. Um, it'll be
Am I wearing? Did they undress me?
your. They
I
took
mean,
away weapons, but you kept your bodysuit.
And plus, your clothing was disguised, right? Your
yeah,
armor.
it's mesh weave, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, you're still wearing your mesh weave for sure. So yeah, you're taking a severe stun injury. Okay, so with a 9, yeah. So you go ahead and how does that look? What is the result of that?
well, I think severe.
I think it's like partial paralysis.
Yeah, I think severe stun is gonna like. I am aware, like I can see, I can hear all that sort of stuff, but I'm basically like I'm on the ground.
Yep. So
I'm like, my tongue can move. That's about it.
it's your
Pinky
legs. Your
fingers.
legs go numb as this like electric bolo slaps around your ankles. You lose feeling in your lower extremities as you just come like thudding to the ground, and you're helpless to watch. As like as this hand, like this gloved hand, comes and like picks you up by the by the back of your collar and throws you over this bike. Did we finish that scene?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
So to clarify, because I want to make sure we're clarifying, in that moment, Joskin was abducted by Azrak, and Sawyer is leading a rebellion against anyone who is left standing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so like we have the scene where where Joskin gets slung over the bike, and then like we just hear the wong 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 wong, and as it speeds off into the darkness, what's the one frame shot that we see of Sawyer in that moment? Like what were you doing in that moment?
So there's more of the guards or marketing guys or whoever, the mixture of soldiers and marketing pukes that are like, I don't know, like playing. What was the game that we came up with? Like the 3D chess or whatever.
Yeah, like Armada, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think that's right.
So they're playing Armada by like the equivalent of Firelight or whatever, and like just like looming in the darkness is like Sawyer's face, like right behind them.
Yeah, cool. So I am going to like let you have as much as you want, like in terms of like fictional, like you can gain control of the remainder of that camp, as far as I'm concerned. Since we're looking at this on a big scale, I want your 12 to stand firm as like this is this
Yeah.
is you taking the camp. Cool. Okay. So Joskin, okay, sorry. Sawyer, did you leave anybody from the Vok alive?
I think so. I think if we took them by quick enough surprise.
You only killed the ones who opposed you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just made an example of a few of them.
Yeah, if they were carrying a gun.
Yeah, so of the like 8 militants that were left, 4 of them saw the error of their ways and threw down their weapons, and then the rest of the marketing pukes were like they never thought twice. In fact, Peck was like when you like encountered him again, this look of familiarity like crossed his face, and he just like sighed heavily. Because once again he had fallen into the clutches of this mean man from Moab. Okay, so you now have control of the planet again with what remains of your haste attachment. Joskin is gone. What's the next question that we're gonna answer? And again, it can be expanses of time. I like it.
I Oh. I kind of want to answer the what strings were pulled to complete the station on schedule.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know where to go with that.
Just so like just kind of talking like player to player like as a refresher because it has been like a month since we really even talked about that. You had it was Diana Payne from Sagan who you set this whole deal up with
Yep.
to start working, and I believe you also like reached out to what was his name to
So it
Grolf
was
Musk.
Gerloff. It was
Gerloff.
two other people. I reached off. So Diana Payne was the one that I figuratively got into bed with to build this station. The idea being that we would have a trade station way out here near AFTA, so when people start studying the planet, we'll make a bunch of money. And I sent messages to Gerloff so he could start expanding his market out to here because he's from Concordia Station.
Concordia, yeah.
So, he could get himself set up. We'll get some goods on the thing and all that. He'll get some money. Win-win.
So just to clarify, like Miss Payne is basically like the person who was physically like overseeing like the construction, and Musk was the overseeing kind of like a potential like partner with stocking and servicing. Is that like a fair?
I think Gerloff is more like he's getting free rent.
Okay.
Like there's no because I don't really like the guy. And I think I have some debt with him.
You do. You have two, I believe.
So yeah, I mean the hopes there was to sort of pay some of that off by saying bring your stuff here, but I don't want to get into a partnership with that guy.
Okay. All right. So the fun question is now is how are you going to execute all this from, like, what has occurred in your Azrak? Like, where do we see you next? Like, last time we saw you, you were being taken away by an Azrak, like bounty hunter assassin. So now, how are you pulling strings from that position?
Where did they take me?
I think they took you. Their initial and so initially they took you. They being the bounty hunter took you to Amelie, the planet. It's actually they kept you in sector for now, and waiting kind of like awaiting like more information for like where they could cash you in. But like now you're on Amelie, which is like an arid planet, very very rural. There is the major like port is this like kind of like podunk area called Paledale. But yeah, you're on Amelie.
On the surface?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, imagine like yeah, you're now like in like a hold up kind of, and it could be any amount of time you choose, but
now Amelie, if I remember correctly, is this the sort of Dust Bowl planet?
Yep, it is.
Okay.
And one thing of note, use it if you will, that's very apparent. Like the moment that you started like stepping out in Amelie is that there's a big religious movement. The New Prophet proto-Christian movement has taken hold in Paledale, and it's like a very much like an evangelical like the message of the Savior of the All Father kind of thing. So there's that too.
What do I know about this religion? Like specifically, their I don't know if I'd see it or even know it beforehand. I guess like their rituals or even their like iconography? Like are they big on? Do they handle snakes or do they just sort of fall to their knees and pray?
They are. I won't. I won't. I mean, unless you want to do. I don't think we need to do an assessment here since we're kind of like working on a bigger scope. They're not like secretive. They're basically like a new age Christian, like uh, kind of like Baptist esque. Not to like go to real world or anything, but yeah, they just like they'll get on like big tangents about like the word of the All Father and they have sermons and they have their normal mass and that sort of stuff. They're led by a very charismatic man by the name of Royer Grace, and he's the religious leader in the area. But yeah, you know everything you need to know about it.
Um, can I? So I know people all over the galaxy. When arriving anywhere civilized, introduce a contact.
Yep.
Can I say Roy or Grace was my contact?
Sure. Yep.
Or is that too far?
No, I'm fine with that.
All right. So I do have a bit of an in with the religious folk in this town, and I sort of imagine the Azrak, especially the bounty hunter and the people that captured me, are not exactly part of the they're not like natives. They're not religious folk.
No, they're here because of like the anonymity that the rural planet can provide them, not because of the religious element of Paledale.
So do they? Am I stuck in a hole somewhere, or do I pass through public areas?
You tell me. Have you kind of talked your way into like a how have you convinced your captor into like a more like loose affiliation? Like, did you talk like you tell me like set yourself up like did you befriend your bounty hunter? Did you escape your bounty hunter? Like, what do you like? You don't let me know.
What if he's using you? You have to assume the bounty's for all of us, right? So,
Yeah.
So what if the bounty hunter's plan was to capture either you or Bronson and use you guys as bait to capture Sawyer?
I like that. If you're good with that.
I like it.
So maybe he lets you loose enough to, I don't know, in the hopes that somehow Sawyer catches wind, but he doesn't know that Sawyer's even capable of catching up to you at this point. I don't know.
So the one main thing I want to do, and in all honesty, I'm actually trying to angle for a specific move just because I want to roll it. But I in talking to the bounty hunter long enough, I've talked about what I know from Roy or Grace about the religion, all that sort of stuff here on Amelie Sigma, or on Amelie, right?
Yep, on Amelie. Yep.
Yeah. And I've tried to convince this bounty hunter. Once I knew they were taking me here, I tried to convince them that I am a fairly devout religious person. I'm totally not, but I'm good at faking it. My goal is to sort of get him to take me to mass or whatever they call it.
Religious services.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forum.
You can go to forum. Go to calling.
And when there, I want to sort of break into. I'm trying to think of something that's not like super offensive to like religion, but I want to break into one of those like overcome with the Holy Spirit things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and try to inspire the followers of the faith to take my side and
That's the most quintessential Joskin thing you've ever done.
I want the religious people to beat the crap out of the bounty hunter and free me.
Yeah, I want to prey on these fine, faithful folks. I want to prey on their willingness to believe in order to coerce them to create harm.
Yeah.
Unlike Captain.
Well, I mean, they could just tie the guy up. They don't really have to beat him.
So yeah, I like that. Like, I think that's definitely. This would definitely be.
I'm looking at inspiration on my.
Okay,
skills,
you've got a special move. Yeah, then definitely.
Which is just an emotion and a medium to convey it. So I want them to. I think the emotion would be pity. What? I mean, like I want them to feel for me.
I think if you took the angle of like, because you are like there's a couple of things about that work really well with this. You're the traveler from the stars, like who has come and like seen the way of their like of their following. And the great part about that is that they are desperately seeking to spread the word of the All-Father to other planets, but until very recently, they have been unable to do that because of the tech level of the planet. And I didn't have to make any of this up; it was all in our notes. The tech level of the planet has been so low that they have not been able to like commandeer any assets that can travel until very recently. And now, like, you are literally like you are a starborn, like like they're not like primitive people, but like you are like. You're highfalutin, and you came down and you saw their ways, and like you bought into it. So they will embrace you, and for sure.
I can definitely spread word for them if it's going to earn me a buck.
Yeah, they will, like if you go with that direction of like that you will be like the mouthpiece of the All-Father, like through the sector, you will have the whole town, like hopefully, unless you do really poorly on this roll. Yeah, you've definitely got sway.
Yep. I'm just gonna do
The emissary, new archetype.
Is it 2? Yeah, my influence is 2.
Okay.
That's all right. On a 7-9, the emotion takes hold of your audience.
Yeah. So they rise up, like the congregation, like rises up, and like it's this like fever pitch build of you like showing your admiration for their beliefs, and then like is there like that last minute turn of like, but he won't let me go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I need to be free. I need to spread the word of the All-Father. If only they would let me off this planet and back to my ship.
Okay.
My ship large enough to hold all of you.
My ark. Yeah, so
We're renaming the saloon to the Ark now.
Yeah, I like it. So yeah, we have like it's the moment, like the scene, like or I forgot our question. How do we pull strings?
We're setting up what I'm angling for. The Amelie people are we're gonna bring them to the saloon, or a large chunk of them.
Okay, cool. So they like I think it's like a thing where like the bounty hunter is like caught off guard. You like Go ahead.
I don't know why, but I just had this vision of like an influx of all this like indigenous labor. And I'm just thinking of like the World Cup thing in Qatar where like they're bringing in all these like essentially slaves from Indonesia and stuff. And Joskin just like totally exploiting people.
Too real. This isn't cyberpunk. This is space fantasy. What are we doing here? Yeah, so that can, if like that is like I think a two-part answer. If you're okay with that, that's a kind of a two-part lead-in. Like you've basically become like the golden like this with your contact of Rory Grace, who like is happy to also kind of like he's a little smarter than the average bear, and like he kind of sees where you're coming from, but at the same time, like he also understands that it's a benefit for him as well because are you taking like not only the word but some of his followers like off planet? Is that the thought there?
Yeah, like I'm gonna take like so once they sort of take the bounty hunter out of commission, we're going to take the bounty hunter ship. I don't know how big it is, but I'll take a handful of his people up to the saloon with me
This is so good.
to sort of begin the exodus. I guess.
I want to name, yeah, I want a name for this like trip, like because in the faction turn they had just bought surveyors, so like they bought like they had to build a and they show you around like they show you this. There's actually like it's a laboratory, but it's a faith-based like school, and they're so proud to show you that like this faith-based university, like we've just finished training our very first pilgrims, and like they're surveyors, they're like intercelestial like surveyors who are like ready to set out, and like that's who you're gonna set out with. So like they've got like this like they have like a very like crude they have a crude like transport vessel for you and your friends
Nice.
to go to the now renamed Ark.
It like burns fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Like spits smoke out the back. Like
It's
what?
just it's yeah this big like it looks like a big like turtle shell like made of metal, and like we have the shot from the surface of Amelie, like where everybody's like the bon voyage, like everybody's like waving their hands and cheering as the first flight off of leaving the planet of is departing to bring the word of the All Father to the stars. Good Lord. and we just the inside shot of Joskin, like do you like don the trappings of any of like the religious significance, like subtly or otherwise?
Um. Well, I don't know. What are their trappings?
It's like, I mean, look, we can keep it like so. It's a cross, but like I think it's a cross that has like it's got like some kind of like oval that kind of cuts through like through the diagonal of it. So it's basically like this Star Federation and the cross on top of each other, like just something like
Um.
that.
Yeah, sure. I'll wear their. I'll wear your little lapel pin.
Yeah, there's like a big like there's a ceremony where Rory like bestows this honor upon you. You're like an honorary shepherd now, a shepherd to the All Father, and like he sends you along the way with how many individuals have you coerced to this calling?
Um. I'd say somewhere between 10 and 20. I don't think it would be like hundreds.
Okay, not yet at least.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So how about like 4d6 and see how many we get.
12.
12. Okay. So yeah, you get like 12 like dedicated, and we will
Muscles.
work that into your crew. So what do they like? So we can kind of like fast forward. Like, what do we find Joskin? Well, we'll go back to that. So you're on your way to the space station with your newly found friends. In this question, like, is there anything? How do we like? Just what do we find Sawyer doing in the meantime? Like,
Um, so we've got control of the dig, basically, but the Bluetooth is still crippled.
yes, yeah,
But Lee Sun's ship still works.
correct. And you do have Bronson and Lisa on there as you know.
And a bunch of xenobiologists, but I don't know if any of them are.
Yeah, none of them are like astromech droids
Yeah.
that could repair your ship, but but Vicky is yeah, Vicky. I was getting confused. Yeah, Vicky is Vicky is there.
I did recover my gun, right?
Yeah,
During
yeah,
the
you're not stripped. Like you actually found your gun like in like that sergeant's like quarters. Like she had it in her footlocker.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. My track record repairing the Bluetooth is really, really bad. So
Just be reckless again. Repair it by throwing a speeder at it.
I am not sure how I would handle this. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe that needs to be part of the fiction. Is that the ship is?
Yeah.
Is,
I mean,
is down for the count.
You could still be stranded there. It doesn't have to be answered in this question. I just wanted to give you a spotlight in case you had something you wanted to explore.
But Joskin, your ship, your personal vehicle is capable of extraterrestrial travel, right?
Is it
I think it
sealed?
needs to be sealed, and
your ship is
it
capable of
not sealed.
leaving the atmosphere.
No, it is not.
Did I mute myself?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, somehow I muted you guys.
No worries.
It is not sealed.
It's not. So
you cannot.
Okay. Crap. Well, shit. The Vok must have left a few ships, right?
So there are like the Vok, like so the original marketers were like they were awaiting pickup, and then like the landing the landing crew had,
they
like,
were
those
just
pods.
like paratroopers. Yeah.
Right. There is Lee Sun's vessel, like that's there. Otherwise, we can go back to like answering those questions and more.
Well, anyway, what you would find me doing is struggling to find a way off the planet.
Okay.
Vicky's doing diagnostics on the ship, and it's clear that I don't have the parts I need to fix it.